Fantastic Four. Is it great? Hello, welcome to the HolmFront. I am Tyler, your host, and to my right, as always, is Mitch, my overly artistic friend, Mitch.
Hello.
Thank you for joining. Okay, so let's just jump right into it. Fantastic Four. What'd you think? We have our
Okay.
answer to the cold open. Nah.
Here's actually my quicker answer or more thoughtful one. It was better than Superman. Now I'm done.
Maybe
Can I go home now?
I'll make that the thumbnail. Better than Superman. 'Cause that doesn't make it great. Okay, so let's why don't we start with the star system? Where would you line that? Let's just start there, and then we'll detail out why or why not.
I guess I would give it 3 out of 5.
I'm about there. I kind of leaned towards a 3 the first time. I saw it twice, Thursday
Oh,
and
wow.
Sunday. I know.
Okay. Why?
Well, one was with someone specific, and then another was with my parents. And so,
Oh, okay.
yeah, they were like, "Well, let's do something," and I was like, "Okay, well, we can see this movie because I know it's like The Devil You Know." Kind of, I was like, "I know that this one's not terrible. I don't know any of the other movies in theaters, so we'll just go see this one."
Oh, okay. Did
And I
they
knew-
like it?
I think they did. Yes.
Okay. I think most people would like this. If you're on the fence and you just want like a fun movie, I feel like this delivers, right?
Yeah, you said it was just pure Marvel schlock. Like it's just this is the quintessential.
Well, but like good Marvel schlock.
Exactly. Yeah, the best of the best.
Not bad
in
Marvel schlock.
So Marvel has a standard. This one meets that standard. Doesn't really go above. It's just kind of like, all right,
Yeah, I
So,
would say that.
that's fair.
That's fair. Yeah.
So, getting into a couple of details of why. What did you like about the movie? What stood out as like, yeah, woohoo? Why don't I start?
Yeah, maybe I'll ask you. What did you like about this movie? 'Cause you seem to have liked it.
It was okay. So I will say I loved the look of it, the retro '60s futurism feel.
I did like that, but who's gonna argue with that? It looked awesome.
Right, but I mean, pretty unique. In my previous video, the like one I did solitary alone, and
I saw that.
it
I feel betrayed, by the way.
was great. That was one of the reasons I'm trying to create dissension here, so that there's I thought that fit as well as Gothic does to Batman. So I was like, okay, I like that
I would
they're
agree with that.
going with this feel. I don't know how they square it with the rest of the Marvel universe.
It doesn't, but it was cool.
We'll get into that. But it does. So they're doing an Avengers film called Doomsday,
Right.
and that's where these guys are going to show up next, as it says at the end of the film.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming they're going to have some way of it fitting in multiverse or whatever, something along those lines.
That's a problem that bothers you a lot more than it bothers me. I can do a lot better with just like this was just like an enjoyable movie. What happens after the fact is just kind of irrelevant. Although I will say the end credits thing is where they really hammer in the Doctor Doom thing.
Exactly.
And now we know that Robert Downey Jr. is cast as him, which makes 0 sense because he's Iron Man. So now he's playing like a main villain. So that left a bad taste in
That's
my
my-
mouth. But
that's-
that was after the credits
That's
roll,
my
so I'm not
point
factoring
with
that
the
in.
multiverse, though, is that it's just this constant looming thing as you're
You
watching.
can't get away from it.
You're like, I just want to enjoy this film, and it's like, but you can't. It's like, oh gosh, okay. It's like this. I don't know. It's just frustrating, especially because of that. Yeah, how blatant it was. It was the same thing as the Solo film when Darth Maul shows up and he turns on his lightsaber.
And he's in the
But they don't
talking
show-
in a hologram.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When they don't show Downey Jr.'s face, but you know it's him, and he's
Right.
got the mask like turned so that it's like, oh, who is it? It's like, oh, it's Doctor. I wouldn't have known if it wasn't for the mask. Thank God they were showing me who
But
it
it's a
was.
guy in a cloak. Who
yeah,
else could
like,
it be?
Who cares? Gosh. So yeah, it's just this, like I said, it's this looming thing that's just sitting there behind you. Anytime you watch a Marvel property, it's like we could change anything we want at any moment.
Who knows?
Yeah, right. I do. You're gonna do it. You're gonna do it because you have the option.
All right, well, we've launched way far ahead, so maybe like scale back a little.
All right.
Things you liked, and maybe give me a little bit of the premise too.
Okay. I felt like I was legit watching The Incredibles. This movie. I was like, we have Jack in this movie, except some space god wants
yeah.
him because he's
That's
like
true.
hiding his nature. I was like, so it's an all powerful baby that can do basically anything you want him to do. Like
Yeah.
like bring
So
someone back
wait,
to
hold on a
life,
second.
maybe?
You're getting into major spoilers. I just wanted the premise.
Sorry.
Are you gonna help me out here or what?
So it's a group of superheroes in a 60s retro futurism universe. And they're pretty established. They don't go into the whole like narrative of how they become superheroes. So they just jump straight in.
They have a
say-
nice visual way at the opening to
Mhm.
recap how they get their powers. I thought
and they
that was
reference
well
it
done.
as throughout the movie too. Like
Yeah, they do a nice job with that.
yeah, which is cool because I know that they've done 2 previous films, so they just have to do something fairly unique or new or something that's not tired.
They've done like 4 Fantastic Four films.
Well, they have 2 of the first one and then 1 of the second one. So there are 3 films, but I'm talking like 2 universes, 2 different Fantastic Four
No,
properties.
there's 3.
You were going back to like the 60s, sure.
No. There's the original with Jessica Alba as
Yeah.
Sue Storm,
Mhm.
and then there was a sequel to that movie.
Yeah.
The Silver Surfer, and then there was the one that I didn't see with
Miles Turner or whatever his name is.
Miles Teller. Is
Teller, yes.
Who was-
He's Reed Richards. This is we're gonna probably
yeah,
do a
that's the
full
one
on
that
segment.
nobody understands.
We're gonna do a full on segment of Reed Richards because it's exciting. But go ahead.
So there was that one, and then now there's this one.
That's
There-
what I'm saying.
So there's 3 different
there's 3
iterations.
films, but 2 iterations.
No, that's 3
'Cause
iterations.
No, there's not.
4 films.
The 2 films. There's 2 films that are in the same universe. They're just one's a sequel of the other.
Yes,
So those just count as
the
the
one
same
with
universe.
Jessica Alba.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one universe.
Mhm.
Then the Miles Teller universe, and then this one.
Yeah.
That's 3 universes. How are you getting 2 out of that?
I'm saying 2 previous iterations. I said 2 previous iterations
Oh,
before this one.
I'm sleep deprived. I'm sorry. I'm gonna watch this
Like, why are
episode
we
back and
arguing?
figure out like
I know math. All right. A little. I barely passed, but I made it. So, yeah. So the Miles Teller's one was I think the Sony version.
Good grief.
And then this one's actually an MCU property. So
Yes.
I don't know how exactly the licenses work there, but they made it work. So it's here. So yeah, I like the style. The casting, for the most part, I suppose it's underwhelming. I will call it, but it's solid. They all do a decent job. So it's like no one's like standout, but no one falls below a standard. So it's like okay, well, I'll take it, I suppose.
Okay.
Yeah, and then so they have their set of villains. So there's one that they just kind of address in the beginning. They don't really show a whole lot to that, but that was another one straight from The Incredibles. I was like, don't they have like a mole character in that one too that they beat up in the beginning?
Yeah, the Underminer is
Yeah,
in this movie.
right.
That's right. He's
That's
straight
like-
up from
It's just Incredibles. So they have that, and then
Of all the people you could have chosen from the comics, you brought the Underminer.
but he has like an entire separate city. So that's also what I'm saying is they set this universe up to be very comic booky.
Yeah,
I
very
liked
goofy.
that.
Yeah, he I love that opening where they're like, we're having trouble with the Underminer, and look how he just like decimated this building, and he like drags a building underground.
And they show his city in the film too, and it's like the underworld or whatever,
yeah.
Undertropolis or something like that.
Yeah.
Subterranea, that's what it is. Subterranea.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like a whole city. I was like, well, okay, so this is just a thing. This is all right. It's
Yeah.
fun. It definitely brought that universe into like a light that was fun in
And they
like a
use-
live action kind of way.
Yeah, and they use that 50s and 60s aesthetic to
Mhm.
kind of mask some of or make the goofiness more palatable,
Right.
which I thought was a very smart choice.
It was. Yeah.
And I think for the
artistically,
most part, it succeeds in doing that.
it's a good direction for what they were doing for sure.
Mhm.
But yeah, so they receive a message from the Silver Surfer, and then they go to respond to that message in space, and then I'll leave it there because
Yeah, I
not
feel like
too
I
much
don't want to.
else.
Yeah, because I don't want to. Yeah, we probably should. I mean, we are going to spoil stuff.
I spoiled a little bit. Sorry, Jack. Not Jack.
Yeah,
Jack,
I
whatever his
guess
name
it's
is.
more like whether or not you recommend it. I mean, those are some positive things. I think I'd agree with some of that. But I don't want to get into the negatives because I ultimately would recommend this movie. Like, if you want to see it, if you're like, oh, that looks kind of cool or whatever, we kind of railed on it in the
Yeah.
trailer because it looked kind of ridiculous in the trailer. But I think the movie did a much better job when I saw it of like pulling me into that world and making me just roll with the punches of what it wanted to do. The
I
trailer
think-
was off-putting because it was just like those hideous costumes. But they're not really in it for the whole movie except for the
Right.
end. They have like one scene in those costumes. So I was like, all right, this is workable. It was, and by that point, I was ready to just have some fun, you know.
You said something in the Superman video that I think applies to this one as well. If for the things that you bring, the expectations that the trailer sets, I
Mhm.
think the movie meets. So
Absolutely,
if
yeah.
you were looking forward to this being like a 60s futurism comic book movie, it
I think you'll have a
delivers.
blast. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think I'll have a lot of fun.
yeah. For a Marvel property with that style, like this definitely did it. So I probably should have started with that before Rabbit Trailing a couple times. But
No, I thought it worked.
so, what about you?
What about me?
I've given you some time to think about what you like. Let's give me one thing. How about that? One thing you like.
Well, okay, I guess I'll have to. I mean, I'm just gonna have to fragment out the things that I liked about what you said and then the things I disagreed with.
Sure.
So I also like the retro futuristic aesthetic. I thought that looked nice. I saw some people not liking the look of like Silver Surfer and stuff, but I totally disagree with that. I thought she looked great.
Yeah.
I thought like it was just really. I mean, she wasn't so glossy like the guy was in the previous movie.
They
Like
matted her
she
out
looked,
quite a bit.
yeah, she looked more metal.
Mm.
But I thought it looked really nice. I thought it was cool. Famous last words. But yeah, so that worked for me. I actually liked her character a lot, quite a bit. She was probably the most interesting character. She had a really dynamic backstory, and I like how every time they were gonna give us something that was exposition, they did it visually.
Yes.
I really appreciated that. So like the opening where they recap the story of how they get their powers, and then when they give us the backstory for the Silver Surfer, they give us a nice visual like that shows kind of her and her origin or whatever. I don't want to spoil it because it was pretty interesting. And they don't like oversell it either. They don't go so much that they're like, oh, now we have to leave the movie and get onboarded with this
Right.
other story.
It's really short and concise.
It's short and concise, but it
Yeah.
was again just visual. Use the visual medium to tell that, and that just really pulled me into it more. So I really did appreciate that. That was a good choice, and the music actually fit there too, which is
Yes.
praised because this is another Michael Giacchione story. I think it's how
I
you
think
say
it's
his name.
Giacchino.
Giacchino, yeah, whatever.
I think that's how you say it.
Him and I go way back. I have some
And they
serious beef
disagree
with that man
a lot.
because he does like the same score in every movie, and then he'll have these moments where it's like, ooh, that kind of worked. And that was one of those moments when we get into her backstory. I was like, what is this nice melody? This is nice.
He brought his brother in, but he took
Yeah,
credit.
anytime something original.
it's Jake Giacchino, but he's just like,
Yeah.
I'm going to use it. You don't get any credit, jerk.
Yeah, pretty
He
much.
did a great job for the Batman soundtrack, but
And Incredibles. I think Incredibles is his
yes.
best score, honestly.
yeah, there's the other parallel. I was like,
Yeah.
and as I was watching, I was like, I bet you this is Michael. And I looked it up. I was like, this is an Incredibles movie. That's all this is.
It was a lot like it, but it was space exploration astronauts instead of espionage.
True. That's fair.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I like spacey stuff. That was the other thing that looked cool. I liked the space sequences, like when they're time traveling, or not. I'm sorry, not time traveling.
Warp speed or whatever.
Warp speed or whatever. Yeah, and the surfers chasing them and stuff.
That was sick.
That was really cool.
When
and
he bends the laser, it was so sick.
Yeah,
he's like, the light's bending. That was so cool.
It's like, yeah, that was really rad. I also too was doing a little bit of research, and I guess the actress who played the Silver Surfer, she was like studying actual surfers to get the movements right to make it look nice, because it did feel really great. Like she was just so fluid with it, like the board was an extension of herself.
Yeah.
And I think that added like the way she just like composed herself was just so much more like resolved with the kind of situation she'd brought upon herself. And I felt like her character works really well with like, because I mean she's made of metal, right? So there's not a lot of like humanity to work with. And so she has to kind of like let the slippage of that come through in these very sparse moments of what she actually feels, even though you can't really tell from the exterior. So I thought she was fantastic. It's the same actress who was in that Wolfman movie.
Yep.
That looked terrible and that was horrible.
She's a great actress, though. She played, the first time I saw her was in a show called Ozark.
Oh,
with
she's
Jason
in that.
Bateman.
Okay.
That's her.
Okay.
So she's Jason Bateman's co-star, essentially.
Okay.
Highly recommend the show, by the way. But that was the first time I had seen her. And then, yes, she's in Wolfman. And then this one. So I don't know if she has a future in Marvel. I don't know what they're going to do with the Silver Surfer or whatever, but I hope she sticks around because she is great. Like, I thought that character was rather compelling, especially for being like a antagonist of the film.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, for the contrast, I appreciated what they were doing. especially considering there was already a Silver Surfer iteration from the previous films.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how do you bring that in and make it fresh and new and different than what has already been portrayed on screen?
Yeah.
And she brought her A game, so thumbs
Yeah.
up.
I do think too it was like both an updated Fantastic Four movie, but then one that updates itself by going way back
Yeah.
before even the original movies did to like more the comic booky
Yes.
feel and vibe. And you could tell by the end, I don't want to spoil it, but there's like a sequence in there where it's like this can only happen in a comic book basically, or a Godzilla film, one of the two.
Sure.
Is the only two situations this would ever occur. But that was kind of great because it was like not an homage, but like a real validation of
Okay, yeah.
that kind of expression, I guess.
Well, the comic came out in 61, so I think they were referencing that, and then they have.
Mm-hmm.
I think what I'm assuming, I have not done a whole bunch of research, but what I was referencing in the previous video was that, surfing was a big thing at the time, and then the space race was kind of around that time, and so I think they're just
surfing,
like,
space race.
they go
Put 'em
together.
together.
Boom. Fantastic Four, baby. Which I was like, these are odd themes to put together, but they're in the movie, so it's like
They work, weirdly enough.
they did work. But yeah, that sequence of them warping with her chasing after him was pretty sick.
Mm-hmm.
The wormhole was pretty cool. And that looked like something directly out of Interstellar, I noticed. I know
Mhm.
it's like supposed to be mathematically accurate with how it looks and all that kind of stuff visually, but it was cool the way that they portrayed that in that film and made it a little bit more comic booky because everything has to kind of match that style.
Mm-hmm.
And they did a great job.
Well, yeah, and it's nice to see them just do something that feels, at least on the surface, a little bit more scientific because that kind of grounds the vibe of what they're going for. Like, these are astronauts. They're not just like spaceman. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's astronaut has a very specific
Connotation.
Yeah, and I felt like they leaned into that in a way that felt nice and
Yeah.
sincere.
Okay, so I think we've praised it enough. What are your problems with it? Or should I start there?
No, I'll start,
Okay.
and then you riff and let me know if I'm going too far.
Okay.
Okay, so here's my big issue.
The casting.
The casting. Yeah, weirdly enough. So I like the Silver Surfer lady.
Agreed.
She's good. Vanessa Kirby, not so much as Sue Storm.
Surprising.
I liked Johnny as
Also
the
surprising.
Human Torch. He was fantastic. Pedro, no. And everybody else, a hard no as well. So, yeah, I didn't think the casting worked at all. This is one of the strangest cast movie. I mean, Pedro Pascal just like, he's like so serious and heavy. And I'm like, dude, chill. Like, you're not supposed to be, like, Reed Richards should be a guy who's like, well, everything is just like mathematical in my head. And so he should be much more monotone in his delivery. And instead, he's like, oh, well, here's the emotion of the room. Reed Richards doesn't pick up on the emotions of the room. He doesn't care, or not that he doesn't care, but he doesn't notice it. So
Sure.
he just is like, I just have to say this. So the original guy and the first one, not to like compare him, but I mean,
He did a great job.
he was perfect.
He nailed that role.
That is how Reed Richards should always be portrayed. I mean, it's like the Joker, right? Whenever you have to play a Joker character, it's like, oof, I've got tough shoes to fill, and you have to do a new direction. And Pedro, it just, regardless of how you feel about him, it's like, yeah, I'm sick of seeing him in movies, but that wasn't like the thing. I'm fine to just watch Pedro Pascal in a movie. I'll deal with it. And usually acting, like casting, this is a weird problem for me to have. I usually don't care. I'm just like, yeah, sure, whatever, whoever is fine. But yeah, no, I didn't think he fit. I didn't think anybody fit.
I figured out why you were arguing with me. Which
What?
is just funny that you didn't pick it up. Because there is a fourth iteration, but it is not a Fantastic Four film. It's it's Mr. Fantastic in a different property. So John Krasinski shows up also as Reed Richards.
Oh, yes.
So we might as well do our Reed Richards segment here.
Yeah.
We'll say, what the heck is going on with Reed Richards?
Okay.
So the first iteration is, I can't even pronounce his name, but I think it's Jon Grafud or something. He's the one from the originals, from the 2008 or 6 or whatever it is.
Yeah, with the Jessica Alba one.
With Jessica Alba.
I don't know why she's the only name I can remember for that movie. Even Chris Evans is in that,
Yeah,
and I just
Chris
forget
Evans
that
is in there.
always.
And then, I forget the thing's name. I'll think of it later, whatever. So in that film, Jon Grafud nailed that casting. I have problems with like Jessica Alba because I was just like, well, who cast her as Sue Storm? This is terrible. But then you have the Miles Teller one, and that one, it's just such a weird movie. I don't even know how to describe that. But like Miles Teller,
Not who I would have cast for that.
who made this choice? And then John Krasinski. Again, it's just like constant missteps with Reed Richards. I don't understand why he can't.
When he's not
get
even a
this.
difficult character to portray.
You'd think so. Like John Krasinski, he initially auditioned for the role of Captain America, and he could fit that. Like when he did like 13 Hours or Quiet Place, you could tell he brought that gravitas that would fit a character like Captain America. Like he got all ripped up, and he was a little bit more serious of a soldier character and all that kind of stuff. But initially, I know him a little too well from The Office, and so when I saw that, I was like, this is the goofy guy that flirts with Pam all the time. Like I can't. And I know that I don't want to typecast him because he did a great job of pulling himself out of that role, but he does not fit this Reed Richards archetype, which is like this overly intelligent, scientific mind who, like you said, has a hard time with the social element of people. He's just the one. He's a problem solver, and like I did like they tried really hard with this one for him to just constantly be solving problems, so much so that he kind of is aloof, but he's too aware. Like he's constantly like he has all of the problems he needs to solve in his mind, and he solves them all the time. Like he doesn't make any missteps with it. And the one misstep that they did have, I didn't like. And we'll go over that in a second. But like there, for instance, Johnny comes in, and he forgot that he had that meeting with him. So the robot comes up. He's like, "Hey, Mr. Richards, you have a meeting." He's like, "I don't remember a meeting." And then Johnny walks in, and there didn't seem to be any stakes that had any consequences. With like, I didn't know why Johnny was coming in, why he had a meeting. I didn't know why it was important to him, and I didn't know why it was important that he wasn't listened to, because none of it seemed like it went anywhere. It felt like when he came in, Richards was doing. He's like, "Oh, I'm making this thing for the baby," and he goes, "Oh, I'll help," and he just diverts from whatever he thought was important to meet with Richards about to go in and help him with this thing. And so to me, it just felt like they tried to insert that aloofness, but it didn't quite land because there wasn't any consequences for it. Whereas the thing with the first casting with Johan Gruffudd, he felt like he was constantly struggling with solving all the problems, but eliminating his social interactions with Sue, with Johnny, with the thing, because he was constantly trying to fix everyone's problems, that he wasn't just accepting them for who they were, and that was the message of the film, was that they were all struggling now that they were different.
Yeah.
And Reed was like, well, I can find a solution. And they're like, well, at some point you got to accept that there are no solutions, that we just work together as we are. And that's what makes him Fantastic Four. Miles Teller, if I remember correctly, he like gets all upset and runs off on his own. He has problems with the government and like forges his own suit. And then he comes back to like team up with the other three so that they could fight Dr. Doom. We'll have to watch it. It's like totally soulless. It's a weird film. And then John Krasinski shows up on his own in the MCU in Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have his team. He tries to provide that gravitas, but he's too emotionally invested. Like you can see that he's got too much. He has like a baby face. Like he cares too much on his face. So he doesn't purvey that like intelligence that kind of eliminates emotion in order to solve problems.
Yeah, well, like he has that peacemaker energy about him.
Right.
But I just took that as this is like an older, wiser Reed Richards, maybe.
That's fair.
I could see him evolve into that a little more.
Sure.
Yeah, I would have taken just really anybody. Maybe even Miles Teller, I guess.
Pedro Pascal didn't he did a better job than I expected him to do for sure, but I'm definitely on the Pedro what's the word I'm looking for? The exhaustion, the fatigue. Pedro fatigue.
Pedro fatigue for sure.
That's definitely where I'm at.
Yeah, but I mean, I didn't feel it until this movie, the Pedro fatigue, because I didn't feel like he was good at all. I was like, he's so serious and he's doing all this like dramatic delivery. I'm like, what are you doing? You're supposed to be like a nerdy character.
Sure.
And, you know, he has this scene, you could see it in the trailer where, you know, it's like, are we safe? I don't know. Why would you tell them that?
Yeah.
Are you out of your mind?
That is one thing.
Like, you can't see 5 steps ahead of what that's going to mean?
Right. Yeah, you didn't quantify this out? Because the first time I went and saw it, my partner there, and then my parents both said the same thing in that moment. They're like, why would he tell them that? Why would he say that? And I was like,
yeah,
I agree. I'm glad I didn't have to bring that up like everyone else did. Because like I've noticed, I just try and stay silent when I'm seeing movies with people now. Because I'd rather gauge their reaction, because everyone already knows what my reaction's going to be. So I like to see what other people are going to say about it.
Yeah.
And that was actually one of the things. Do you have anything else to say about Reed Richards or the casting?
No, well, more about the cast, but in a moment.
Okay.
But yeah, go ahead.
So overall, I think my critique with the film is that it felt like it was there were no consequences. It was stakeless completely. The whole film. They didn't feel like there was any meaningful consequences. They didn't feel like there was any like real change to the character based on something impactful that had happened. The one time was with the Silver Surfer, and I was like, well, this is the one time I'm like actually specifically engaged.
Mm-hmm.
But everything else, it didn't feel like it was, because someone pointed out. I'm not giving too much away here. Is the color palette is extremely clear in the film, right? It's blue and white,
Yeah.
but there's splashes of red everywhere, specifically with Johnny.
Mm-hmm.
And he wears the reds primarily when he's not feeling heard, because he's constantly off on his own, and he he goes off and listens to the messages or whatever, or he's trying to bring something up and people aren't listening to him or whatever, and that's when he dons the red. It's like his, I don't know, statement, I guess, the filmmaker's statement of when he's separated from the group. I was like, okay, that's cool. I forgot where I was going with this. Where'd I go?
Well, I'll just piggyback
ahead.
because Johnny was fantastic. He's
Yeah.
the actor from Stranger Things,
Plays Eddie.
who plays Eddie. I forget his name now, and it's nice to see him like get like a kind of a big movie role. And now that I think about it, he's the one interacting with the Silver Surfer the most. So
Because he solved that problem. He actually pulled a Richards.
exactly,
Solved the
yeah.
issue.
Which I thought was cool because they're all astronauts. They should all be super smart. It shouldn't be just Reed.
Right.
Oh,
that's where I was going. That it didn't feel like there was any consequences for when he wasn't being heard. 'Cause he'd wear that, but it didn't feel like there was any tension between the actors. Anytime that happened, Sue would come in and he would just like show her something that he found. He'd act like a little brother, but he didn't. It didn't feel like he was upset about not being heard. Like I said, when he had that interaction with Reed Richards, he came in for something specific, something about building some spacesuits or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But he totally drops it and moves on. When Reed Richards is aloof, when he forgets about it, it's like he doesn't care that he forgot. But that's what it felt like throughout the whole movie. Didn't feel like there was any stakes.
I mean, I don't know if I'm willing to go quite that far because he was interested in the naked metal lady on a surfboard.
That was funny.
That was funny. And he's like trying to like explain it to them, and then
Johnny
he's like,
likes space. Johnny likes naked ladies. So naked ladies from space, Johnny would like, right? Like
it's like I get it, but seriously, here's the serious thing I'm trying to present to you guys, which was very serious, and they did need that throughout the course of the movie, that information that it was, but it was just funny how they played into that. But yeah, like because the chemistry was
there's
good.
a positive. The Marvel humor actually fit this film. It did not pause at any point and be like, "We got a joke." It was that it actually
Everybody
fit
stop.
the movie. Yeah, hold the phone. Pause the movie. Got something funny to say. No,
Okay, here's your moment to laugh.
Yeah, it actually fit pretty well. That moment included.
I wonder if we could do Marvel movies with a laugh track. Because the pauses are long enough that you could just insert the laugh track into them. It would work seamlessly.
Boy, you're testing my ability, but I could do that.
Okay. But yeah, so like, he was great and the Silver Surfer lady was great. And they had a lot of interactions between each other. So their chemistry was good. So anytime it was them two on screen, the movie was working for me. And I was just fully on board. But like, yeah, the Pedro Pascal, whatever. I don't want to get. He just sucked.
Pedro fatigue.
Too serious. But I didn't really like The Thing that much, which is a shame because the actor himself, he was from Andor. He's like has a bit part in that. But I've not seen him in anything else. So I'm like, okay, I'm glad that they're giving like actors who don't have a lot of a huge screen presence already just a chance to do something kind of big. So I'm like happy for him, and I don't think he was like a bad thing. I just felt like they had nothing to do with the Thing in the whole movie. It's like he was in the movie because he has to be in the movie because he's
part
one
of the Fantastic Four. Yeah,
that's the only reason. They have this like sort of side thing that they try to address where he's like walking through the park of his hometown or whatever, and then there's these kids who want him to like pick up a car and whatnot, so he does that to impress them. And then there's the teacher lady there, or she's like, I don't know, she does like volunteer work. She's like some do-gooder person,
some philanthropist that he's like
that he's interested in. She reminds me of that character in that Star Trek episode where he goes back in time, Kirk does, and then he falls in love with this like philanthropist lady, but he can't be with her because of all these reasons.
Right.
It's one of the best episodes of the original Star Trek, and since it's 1960s, it's a similar kind of era. So if she felt like she was channeling that when I saw that, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. What are they going to do with this? And the answer is nothing. They're not doing anything. they meet. They have one exchange, and then
Kinda.
we go the whole movie. And then he sees her again to start a conversation, and then we don't get that conversation, and then that's it.
Yeah.
So
She
it
doesn't come
just
back
kind
at
of
all.
was like, why is this even here? What is the point? Like, it was just it wasn't enough. It felt like now it's just distraction.
I will say, without doing too much research, this film felt like it went through a bunch of edits or a bunch of reshoots. That one was one of them because it felt like there was probably more there, and it either got cut out to make room for other stuff, or
Mhm.
they weren't sure what to do with it. They just want to give you something. It was like, okay, sure. The other moment specifically, I know I've already given a
Mm.
little bit of spoilers here, but I'll jump into this one. This
Well,
is
yeah, we can go full
spoilers.
spoilers. We're halfway through. Go
We
for it.
are. So there's a scene where this is where I thought it was weird. They were trying to insert consequences, and it felt really just mean spirited. Was
Hmm.
Vanessa Kirby and Pedro Pascal have an issue that Pedro Pascal knows that Galactus wants the baby, and so he has to account for the fact that that might be something he has to utilize for his goals, because he's like, well, the worst outcome is that he gets the baby. So if I
Right.
use the baby as bait, that's one thing.
Yeah,
If
and
he
it's
gets
so it's him and Sue's baby,
right,
and Galactus wants it,
wants the baby.
but they don't really give. Otherwise, he destroys the planet. That's the bargain that they have.
Right, and if he destroys the planet, he destroys the baby anyway. So he has to account for what's the lesser of two evils.
Mm-hmm.
Vanessa Kirby picks up on that, and I liked that part. I was like, okay, yeah, she would know him well enough to know how his brain works. But then she gets mad at him.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, why are you angry? Because like clearly this is the only option. And he's like, well, this I have to invite this stuff in order to like evaluate how to fix the problem.
Yes.
And she just like
You're saying it much better than he did.
rails on. Yeah, that's fair. But she just rails on him for it. And I was like, what else is he supposed to? There's a space god that wants your baby. It's gonna require some solutions that you might not think of right off the bat. So like he's gonna have thought of all the possibilities. So it was a weird interaction from them too, because I didn't understand why she was so upset. Like I understand the protective nature of any parent in general, but especially a mother with her child is like, okay, I get that. Yeah, you're not gonna want that to be reality in any case. I get it.
Sure.
And so anybody in introducing that as a reality is going to be an enemy. Cool, I got that. Sure.
Yeah.
But like then she should have been like, well, hold on a minute. Like there's gonna have to be an extreme solution for an extreme problem, and I might not like it, but if that prevents the death of everything, including the one thing I'm trying to protect, then maybe yeah, okay, I get it. But then they go later, and she then presents it because she's like, no, there's the only solution, and you know that, and he goes, yeah, okay, yeah, I know this is the only solution we have. And then
Mhm.
she gets all mad, disappears, and takes off. I was like, okay, I get that part. And then it just jumps immediately to her walking with a stroller through the streets. And then Pedro Pascal comes up and they're fine. I was like, this feels like it was missing a scene or an argument or something. Because it was resolved way too fast for the emotion that it introduced the scene directly before it.
I see.
And that was the moment where I felt like there's some stuff here that got cut out or
I see.
got re-edited somehow. It was weird.
That's fair.
It was real weird.
I mean, your point does very much reinforce my point that,
Which one?
well, the fact that I didn't like
Oh,
Sue
yeah.
Storm. I didn't like Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, which is weird because I think she's a tremendously great actress.
She is, clearly.
I forget that movie she's in, but there's one where she's like a babysitter or something, and the baby dies, and then she's in this court drama. It's just like it's incredible performance. She has this like 20 minutes like unbroken scene or something where she's just getting grilled and like going through that. It was just like it was intense. So she's a great actress. She's also been in the Mission Impossible stuff, but like just the character. So it's like I guess it's part the actress, but also like the character portrayal as well. So like I wasn't really mad at her because I was like I feel like this is the kind of scene where it's like okay, I just gave birth. I don't really want to entertain this idea right now. So I just want him to just be on my side of the feelings.
Sure.
That's it. Like, I don't want to even discuss this other stuff. So I'm just going to say whatever I can to try to pull him out of it.
Yeah.
But the thing is she's an astronaut.
Right.
And astronauts are not these, like,
they're trained.
Whatever
They're
kind
trained
of
for
people.
those mental, fortitudes.
Mental
like,
fortitude, exactly.
Yeah.
So they're not just, like, letting their emotions take over like that. They would be, like, you know, pregnant mom or whatever. Like, if you're an astronaut, it's just like,
yeah,
like those walls come up and it's like, all right, we're going to think through everything.
Sure. Well,
So
yeah, you'd think that you would allow those emotions to flow through, and then you would rein them back. You're like, all right, go ahead and take control for a couple of seconds, and then I'll pull it back into rationality and understand there might not be another solution. So we're gonna have to entertain something that might
yeah,
sound horrible.
she could do it in like a more pragmatic way, for
Sure.
example, and just like because I would expect her to kind of like just sort of negotiate with Reed, like in this like intellectual realm, but like really she's got like the emotional part that she wants addressed, and he's not addressing it.
Yeah.
And then as it goes on, that's when she starts to break through and is like,
Yeah.
"Hey, like I might be able to intellectualize with you about this,
Sure.
but this is a line." Or something like that, and then that could
But
work.
that would have played
But
into Pedro Pascal being able to play that character the way he should have been. So
well, he couldn't. Well, yeah, because he's just like well, it's logical, it's ethical, and I was like, there's nothing ethical about giving up a baby for any reason. Like, what are you talking
he
about?
was talking about the ethical equivalency because it's one child versus everybody, including the child.
But we
so, like,
debunked that here on the show.
we did.
We debunked
We
that
did.
very thing.
So
about
watch
how-
the
it's
needs of the
impossible
many.
to quantify needs of the many versus needs of the few. So if he had just watched the HolmFront, he would have known
There you go,
that
stupid.
it was not ethical.
Get on
in
YouTube,
fact.
type in the HolmFront. Let's go.
So yeah, we had debunked that. So the whole time I was like, okay, we already debunked this. This is not. You're not. There's no ethical high ground here.
I love that you're watching the video or the movie and inserting our arguments from Star Trek into it. That's funny.
Well, because it was the same argument, and he's just saying like it's this argument of well, it's and obviously a moral good, like more is better, right? And it's like, well,
Not
what?
quite. Yeah.
And also like you just don't know the ramifications of all these things. There's just so much to that question. So for him to just haphazardly
Hmm.
mention that, I was like, you could say it's logical. It is logical.
Sure.
I don't know if it's ethical.
That's fair.
And then afterwards, they're still arguing, and then he's all like,
Available was the other word, yeah.
yeah, available.
Logical, ethical, and available, yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Uh-huh.
I'm not going to address that one. And then he's arguing with Sue, and he's all, well, I have to invite the bad ideas in, as if this is like some burden for him. It's like, it's not a burden for Reed. Like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about? And like, I guess this is, maybe I better check myself because I've not actually read the comics. I'm just going off of what I know from the original two movies. But I'm like, the way that character was portrayed, as I understood it, it's like, well, he's just like this super smart, super logical, analytical type person.
Hmm.
So he just, somebody like that would not be like, oh, I'm dragged down in the dumps of
Right.
the drama. Like,
It's just a solution.
right. It's just a solution.
yeah.
Exactly.
He recognizes it as evil, but it's not something that weighs on him. Because he's
Right.
not the one, like, searing his conscience. He's just evaluating options.
Right.
And that's just, it exists among them.
Right. And when something does sear his conscience, you wouldn't see it in that way, in this kind of like brooding Batman thing.
Right.
It would be in this kind of like you wouldn't hardly notice it, but there would be, it was like suddenly he just doesn't smile or react in any way to anyone's jokes. That just no longer happens. Whereas before you would get a smirk or
It's
he
like
would like,
extra concentrated or something, yeah.
yeah, you would get something like that. It would be so much more reserved, and he just totally couldn't do that. But I mean, it's partly the director's fault, just asking him to give that kind of performance. I'm like, I don't know why you would want that, but okay. So I don't know. The whole premise of their arguing back and forth was just like it was
messy.
Just, well, yeah, and like my whole problem with it, like the larger issue I have is that it just kind of reduced them to just like generic people to me. I was like, well, she's just like a pregnant lady. She's just a mom. He's just like some dad who just isn't emotionally available. Like that's it. Like that's all it came down to. They weren't like the characters. They were just caricatures.
Okay, gotcha. I want to bring back to your previous point. So the Thing meets with that lady, whatever her name is.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the comic book interest, which, sorry, everybody, for not knowing. You have a point in here about the cast not really portraying a style that matches the aesthetic of the film.
Yeah.
That character does.
Yeah, she does.
Quite vividly. It's like, oh, this is, she pulled her straight out of the 60s, like
Yeah.
late 50s, straight 60s. But you were mentioning how Sue does not embody that look. And
No.
it's interesting, now that I think about it more, how they intentionally made that other character a lot more 60s looking. But they did not put that focus on any of the cast of this film.
Yeah.
Do you have an answer as to why that might be?
Well, before I can answer that,
Mhm.
I want to like explain what my problem was. So the whole movie, I felt like something about the look was off. I was like, this looks nice, but something's not working for me, and I don't know what it is. And then at the end, they do this like rundown where they have like these nice illustrations of the characters, and they depict Sue Storm with a 50s haircut, or Vanessa Kirby with a 50s haircut, or a 60s haircut, something like that. And when I saw that, I was like, that's what it is. It's the main cast doesn't match with the time period of the characters in the world that they're in. So everybody around them is like living it up in like a 50s, 60s, like aesthetic in every way. They look like them, they act like them, they're
Yeah.
silly and goofy, like your stereotypical image of them would have you believe. But then there's the main cast completely removed, and they look like they come from 2025. So it's just so odd because it's like the two things are not forced to be in relationship with each other. I would have rather had them take the full cast and force them into that 60s aesthetics, not aggressively so, but just kind of like inch towards that. So that way it seems like they are everyday people who do belong in that world that they've created. Because like the Incredibles match in the world of that story, but these guys don't match in the world of this story. They match in like a modern day Marvel movie project.
Okay.
But this is like 60s futurism. So like people should be different. It's kind of like that Fallout show where everybody's like, oh, like the main character Lucy is so lovable because she's like that fish out of water. She still has that like kind of idealistic 50s perspective. But that's so in line with the humor of Fallout. So that makes sense. And that's what I wanted them to bring here. So to answer your question, you're right. Here's this other ancillary character where they play up the 50s, 60s thing. And then why didn't they do that for the main cast? I think they're just being lazy. I think they were like, well, if we make the main cast, but at that point, it'll be too much. And then the audience will think to themselves, what is this, like 1960s Batman? Which would have been great, by the way. And I would have liked the movie.
I would watch that, absolutely.
Seriousness be damned. Who cares at that point? But
you gotta have the bomb if you're gonna do that, but you gotta fully commit. Run down the planks, like carrying up the
a bomb with a fuse.
With the fuse, yeah. You gotta
big
full
black
go full.
round sphere. Yeah, I think they just did. I think they felt like that was a step too far, and that if they committed to that much, then they can't use the cast in like a different setting.
Got it.
But I mean, it worked just fine with Captain America.
True.
So
because it's just the idealism. It's not the look. The aesthetic can change.
Yeah, and if anything, I think the aesthetic should retain itself because I think that'd be interesting how the characters are like, well,
it's
this
like
is just what looks to me. Yeah.
Visual representation of them retaining their idealism.
It would even be funny if their costumes never really get updated. Like they get offered like new costumes. They're like, oh, that looks terrible. They just want the classical looking stuff.
That would be hilarious. Yeah. Yeah, because they do that with Cap. He goes back to that in one of the films. I forgot which one it is, but he's like, yeah, I guess I'll just don the old Stars and Stripes.
Yeah.
Why not? Cool.
Yeah, I think that would make it charming and endearing. And so it created this problem where it sort of felt like everybody on the planet was just a dumb ignoramus and who didn't deserve to live. And the main cast, the Fantastic Four, were saving them, but just because, you know, they're superheroes and they're obligated to, not because it's deserved in any way.
Gotcha.
And so it felt like it kind of, not to say that it was mean and it's like criticizing like 60s and 50s culture or people, but just more like how it wasn't willing to just like fully embrace it. It was like, whoa, I guess I got to stop here.
Got it.
And I didn't like that.
You know what I thought? Well, do we have anything else we want to go over on this?
Not in particular, no.
Okay. So what I thought they were going to do, just as kind of like a closing, I guess. So he sets up these series of towers that's going to transport the Earth to another portion of space.
Yeah.
What I thought they were going to do was that when he hits that button, they were going to wait till they, finished off Galactus or whatever. But after that, something was going to happen, like some anomaly, and it was going to transport Earth into the MCU. That's what I thought was going to happen. So that they could square the two. But,
so there's like two Earths.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I totally thought was coming, but it didn't work out. So
all the problems that would introduce. Oh my gosh, that would be such a headache.
Oh
If
my
I knew,
gosh.
if I was being signed on to direct a Marvel project or to write one, and I knew that I had to count for 2 Earths now, I'd be like, oh my god,
That being,
why?
I would just not address it. I would just put it in and be like, "Hey, you guys have fun. You wanted me to do this, so it's in the same universe now. Have fun with that."
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. That'd be wild.
Yes, it would.
Yeah, maybe it was for the best, but I mean, they're planning to push them forward anyways, and I guess that's the idea is have them, enter it. But I don't know, like what was so like here. Let me ask you this: do you think if they had gone like with like committed to the vision fully and made them like archetypical '60s characters as well,
Mhm.
do you think audiences wouldn't have responded to that, or do you think they would have liked it? And it's not going to be like the '60s Batman. It would still have its moments of
Right,
drama,
right,
but like a good '60s movie kind of thing.
right.
Because there's some real classics in there. I mean, not too much later. '72 is The Godfather.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah. I couldn't answer that appropriately. I don't think. I think personally, I think it would have resonated, but I don't know. I understand the line that they're trying to cross because it is 2025, and I know Marvel is, but it also is like clearly trying to rebrand itself in a certain way because
Mm-hmm.
like this is pulled on, it has like this Fantastivision thing that's like the style of filmmaking that they used or something, and then it's got this clear aesthetic that they're going for, and I don't know if they're going to continue on with that or if it's just this one off like for this movie. I can't tell
Hmm.
because the next time they're showing up, I guess, is in Doomsday, and Doomsday, I'd assume, is gonna have all the other Marvel cast come in and join, like She-Hulk and all this other stuff is probably gonna come in because it's an Avengers film. So is it probably gonna have Thunderbolts and probably gonna be another giant project like Infinity War, especially because they got Robert Downey Jr. coming on as Doomsday or Doom, Doctor Doom. So that's where I'm confused and like I know you think that I like pull in too much of what they're gonna do with all this stuff in the future as I'm watching the movie, but I think that they should full on like go full steam ahead with this aesthetic and this like I would make this whole series. This is what I would have done as a show idea.
Hmm.
I would have done the Fantastic Four show with this aesthetic and just do it like a totally episodic. This is
That
how
would
I
have
would
been
have done
fun.
this.
It would have been like a throwback show.
Exactly. Because they kind of alluded to that with WandaVision, but this has a lot more of a classic, I think, more charming aesthetic in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I think it resonates with a lot of American audience at least because it has a lot of that idealism, that kind of it's very hopeful, right? It's very positive,
Mm-hmm.
bright colors, good ideas, nuclear family, that kind of thing. Like it feels very
Mm-hmm.
classic.
Yeah.
And I think after all the confusion and after all the holes that Marvel has dug itself, this was just a good return to form for comic book movies.
Yeah.
And so I think for that they should continue on that, but I don't know if they will because now they're locked into going the MCU route. So they got all the multiverse and all this other stuff that it has to contend with, and I don't know how that's going to look.
Yeah. I mean, your point about this overbearing nature of the MCU is a valid one because it does present these things where you're like, oh, what about this? What about that? And then if something's not working for you, I feel like the chances are very high that it's because it needs to be attached to other
Yeah,
projects in some form or fashion. And then that does hurt the vision. It's not free like Batman movies where it's just like, well, it's a Batman movie.
right.
Just take it for what it is.
Which I think, to be fair, this movie does do a really great job of just existing as it is,
Mm-hmm.
and it can connect to it will connect to other things, but it's fine to be taken by itself also.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm. I
for
wouldn't
what?
stay for the end credits. I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah, just ignore that. Just cut it off
Yeah.
before that happens. You're good to go.
It doesn't tell you anything. It's just like Doctor Doom's going to be in the next
Right.
movie. Yeah, well, we knew that.
Like, have you been paying attention to the news at
Eh?
all for the last 2 years? You already knew.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
well, anything else?
See, I usually just agree with you, but in the past, I've gone back and rewatched and been like, I did have more to say, and I didn't.
You have
So
more
now
to
I'm checking myself.
recomputing.
um.
Vanessa Kirby, Johnny Storm,
Oh
Reed
yes,
Richards.
one other thing about Reed,
Uh-huh.
he stretches a total of like 3 times in this movie. And one time isn't even of his own volition.
Yeah. It's against his will.
What was that about? What, do we have a problem with Reed stretching? That's his powers. Can he not do that? Sue used her powers
his power
constantly.
is his brain.
But not even that in this movie.
I like the thought that it does acknowledge it's a stupid ability.
Oh, it's terrible.
It's ridiculous. And the fact that they're stuck with it, I think, is just like, well, we'll just do it as little as possible because it's a stupid ability.
Yeah, but like, again, you're going to have to embrace that. I mean, it's the Fantastic Four.
Right.
This isn't like
It's already
highbrow
ridiculous, yeah.
superhero material you've got here.
Fair.
And if you're pulling it into the 60s era, why wouldn't you just embrace some of the... It's like they want it to be like nice and palatable.
We should have put
And
this in the Reed Richards section.
Yeah.
How many times did each Reed Richards get to stretch? Because that's the thing about John Krasinski's. He only stretched when he was dying.
Yeah.
That's the only time he got it.
Well, he didn't get a chance to do anything because he just gets killed
Right.
by
Just-
whoever it was.
Scarlet Witch popped him.
But that is something that kind of, I think, I felt like I haven't seen the original in a while, but I remember there being this long sequence in the beginning where the characters are interacting with each other and discovering their powers and kind of like figuring out what they've become and everything. And like there's that hand where like Reed puts his fingers under the door and then he reaches up and then opens it.
Yeah.
And then Johnny Storm's like, that's gross. That's disgusting. So like they addressed like the issue with his power.
Yeah.
But they managed to make it kind of cool in that movie. Like he just does cool stretchy things, as cool as you can make it anyways. But in this movie, it's like they were just, you know, when it came time to use their powers, they were kind of like, ooh, I guess we have to do that now.
Right.
It'll do this like shot where he's like,
unless it was Sue Storm, then it was like, anytime you can make her do anything, do it.
yeah, she did a lot, which was cool, I guess. But it was also like, wow, a lot of Sue Storm fighting bad guys. She did everything pretty much.
Pretty much.
Second to Johnny, probably. The Thing did nothing. Although he did have that one funny moment, but that was with Johnny, where he's like,
oh yeah,
he's carrying the Thing in the sky. He's like, what time is it?
What time has it been?
And then
no, Johnny.
the Thing has this issue where he doesn't want to say it's clobbering time because people just say that about him all the time. He's like, it's stupid. They made it up. I don't want to say that.
I like that the cartoon exists in that universe.
Yeah.
It's clearly an actual cartoon from the 60s or whatever.
Right.
And so the line's there, but he doesn't actually say it. So
Right.
everybody wants him to, but he's like, this is dumb. But then he gets to go hit the main bad guy. What time has it been? No, Johnny.
What time?
Say it.
Say
I don't
it.
want to. It's clobbering time. It was a good way of introducing the humor, but also like making it believable what he would say.
Mm-hmm.
Because who would say that? I know it's a fun tagline for a comic book, but if you're trying to introduce it into a more realistic take,
Yeah.
no one's going to say that.
Yeah, and that was the kind of great thing about, I think, the actor who plays Johnny, is that he's got so much charisma
Yeah.
that he's able to sell that joke really well because he establishes himself as a character who is looking for the little bits of humor in between all of the serious things
Well,
they
he's
have
a little
to do.
brother.
Exactly.
So he's going to be constantly antagonistic. And they actually did a good job with him as Chris Evans in the previous ones as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's like, he finds out that he can throw fireballs and stuff, and the Thing is impervious to fire. So he's just constantly throwing fiirballs at him just because it's annoying. Guy doesn't get hurt by it, but he's annoyed. So he's like, stop. And it's just, it's a good relationship. It's plenty of moments, and they actually utilize those fairly well. I liked when they announced that or they didn't announce it, but when they figured out that they're pregnant. And Johnny comes up, he's like, you're going to be a great mom. You're completely out of your depth, but you'll make do. And then he's like, let's eat. And then he just is like, moves on. Like, we're going to be great uncles. So now I'm hungry.
Now I'm hungry, yeah. He's just a one-track mind kind of person. Yeah, he's super endearing. So he was a lot of fun.
I'm glad to see him. I hope he's in more because he did a really great job with Eddie. He clearly has a good future ahead of him. So I hope that he continues. Like, this is a big step.
Yeah.
It's a complete contrast to what he played
a first
in Stranger
step,
Things.
if you will.
I think we'll end it there. Thank you for watching. so you made it to the end of the video. If you liked it, please consider subscribing and leave us a comment. We'd love to hear what you thought.